Hi everyone, this is Leonie and you're listening to Leonie's Light, Cancer, Support and Survival. On this podcast, you'll expect to laugh with me, cry with me and everything in between. At first, I thought the audience for this podcast would be teens with cancer or cancer survivors, but actually it's for anyone, as each episode will highlight how to find positivity in a negative situation. Every episode, I will either have a family member, friend, or guest speaker to join me and share their experiences, advice, and answer questions. Welcome to episode 1. Today, I will be sharing a little summary of my story and answering a couple of questions. To help me do that, I'm joined by my mum. So, Mum, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Kelly, aka Mum, also mum to the gorgeous Owen, who I'm sure will be on one of your later episodes.
Not that he knows that yet.
Not that he knows that yet. But yeah, I'm just here really to help you recall some of the earlier stages because, you know, trauma and being in an induced coma will blank your memory quite rapidly. And because I'm your biggest fan.
Aw. Okay, so where should we start?
Like anywhere, babe, at the beginning.
So I come back from a holiday in Turkey with my dad and that side of the family, and become unwell very quickly, and started off with a cough and a backache and ended up basically not being able to breathe and going to 3 different GPs, and they told me that I had a chest infection, all 3 of them, but we weren't happy with that outcome, was we?
No, it didn't sit right, and it wasn't a chest infection in my opinion, and it got to one evening where you were really, really finding it hard to breathe, so I took you to A&E.
Yeah, and a couple days being in A&E, they rushed me up to Great Ormond Street.
Yeah.
And as they discovered that I was basically drowning and had 6.5 litres of fluid drained from my lungs and heart, they then discovered that I had cancer.
Yeah, you were diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is
blood cancer.
A blood cancer. And the treatment path that you were put on immediately was the same as leukemia. So for girls, it's a 2.5 year treatment plan, and currently it's for boys, it's 3 years. But yeah, so we had a long road ahead of us at the time, and still do. But yeah.
So we was in Great Ormond Street for 2 weeks.
Just over 2 weeks.
And got moved to St George's for a couple of days, and then
we came home.
Yeah, came home, which was lovely.
Yes, it was, after being in hospital for that long.
Yeah.
And then we started your first cycle at Marsden, the Royal Marsden in Surrey. Yeah, in Sutton.
Yeah. So that was
the initial. Yeah, that was the initial kind of stages of your treatment plan, and the first 6 months, I would say, was quite traumatic. You were in and out of hospital. You weren't allowed to see people because you were mostly neutropenic, which means that you can catch anything and everything. So we were isolated again, back in the COVID days.
Yeah, which I think COVID probably helped us a little bit, because we were kind of not used to it, but because it was still horrible, but it made it a little bit easier because we've been through the not seeing people, but I think it was a lot harder because obviously what we was going through.
Yeah, we were very isolated, weren't we?
Yeah.
And thankfully we had Roxy to keep us company.
Roxy is our dog.
Our boxer dog.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the main part of the story, and each guest or family member that comes on will help me dive deeper into different parts of my journey because they've all been a part of it.
Yeah, and I think the big thing to say though as well is that no matter what hospital we went to or nurse or doctor that we saw, on the whole, we really rate the NHS. You know, they're fantastic. They've really looked after you.
And they still do.
They do.
Yeah, massively.
And Young Lives versus Cancer, which is a charity that has helped us in different ways.
Big charity.
And we've been doing some fundraising.
We have.
Which has been fantastic.
Yes.
So lots and lots of good has come out of this treacherous situation.
Yeah. But there's been some ups and some downs.
There's been many downs, but we laugh along the way.
Yeah, but I've been supported by the best people and couldn't have wished for better.
And we've only got 6 months to go.
Yes. Well, is it 6 months?
Yeah.
Yeah, January.
Yeah.
And counting.
Yes.
Summary of the start of my journey. And each episode, people will come on, family members, friends, guests will help me dive deeper into the rest of my journey and different stages and the funny times and the sad times and all the ups and downs and everything that comes with being diagnosed with cancer.
And what it's like to truly be bald.
Yeah. So before this episode, me and Mum have planned to ask each other 3 questions. So I'm going to start with my first question for you, Mum. Are you ready?
I am.
Okay. So what did you think was wrong with me before you took me to A&E?
Oh gosh. Well, due to your previous lack of attendance at school, I kind of thought, oh, Leonie, you know, you're in year 11 now, you've just done a couple of days and you're already...
It was literally 3 days.
And you already, you know, was sort of like trying to get out and up the wag. And I said, you're in year 11, this is the final year, and you'd worked so hard in your mocks, it would have been a real shame to, to not, you know, not keep up with that. And I just said, you know, unless you're dying, you're going to school. And oh my God, how bad did I feel? Literally. So I actually thought that you were, you know, playing it on a little bit until your breathing really sort of worsened throughout the evenings. And and then I thought, oh crikey, this is serious now. She really is unwell. And got you into hospital.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Here we are, yeah. Okay.
So is it my turn?
It is.
Okay. So is there anything, and I'm sure there are many, but maybe pick a few, is there anything that you miss about life before your diagnosis?
Oh, wow. There's a lot.
Mm.
I think it's obvious the main one is not being able to see my friends and family whenever I want to, and being able to like have the energy to go and do what I would have done before being diagnosed. So I think that's probably my main one, because like, I mean, we used to have an open house, didn't we? Like my mates used to come around all the time, or your friends or family used to turn up or whatever, because that's just what, like, the type of people we are.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably my main one. But I do have another one that's not as bad now, but the first maybe 6 to 8 months was my hair, because being bald, I didn't mind it sometimes, but when I was on steroids, I looked like a balloon.
Because you was all puffy.
So, and I was all puffy, and I hated that. So I think my hair, obviously, like, you can kind of cover your face a little bit, like, so, and I had really long blonde hair, so I think that's probably my main 2 that I miss.
But your hair's growing back lovely now, and you've really looked after it, and I'm sure you'd recommend some of your products that you use to help your hair growth.
Yes, I do. I recommend, I mean, the main one I use is rosemary oil, but I generally just try and, like, I look after it a lot more now than I did before, and I think that's probably because I'm older as well, but probably because I also know it can go within
you're not
weeks.
taking it for granted, are you?
So I think that,
Yeah.
definitely.
Good answers.
Yeah. So my second question for you is, was you relieved to go home after hospital, like after St George's?
Okay, so we were in hospital, including Medway, Great Ormond Street and St George's. We were in hospital for about 3.5 weeks in total. So that was a long time, sort of bed hopping and all of that, and just having that kind of, that night terror of the beeps going off all the time, and being woken up with the nurses and fretting about you and your blood pressure and having x-rays through the night and all of the rest of it. You would think that I would look forward to going home, but actually I was just really nervous because I had all of this stuff to take with us. It was like taking home a brand new baby.
I remember the pack that they gave you was like massive. All the paperwork,
all of the drugs,
crazy.
All of the rigmarole that came with it, and I was just like, oh my gosh, how am I going to cope? Where do I start?
Yeah.
So yes, I was very nervous, but once we got home, like anything, it just came naturally, and yeah, I became mum/nurse very quickly.
You did.
So my question is, how did you really feel after getting your head shaved for the first time?
Okay, so this is a good question because there's like mixed emotions. So I remember walking into the barber's and there was eight of us, weren't there?
Yeah, we just thought it was a family day out.
Family day out to the barber's. I don't think the barber knew what he was getting himself into.
No.
So it was my brother's barber, and he said, come to my barber, like he knows like a bit about you and whatever, he's lovely. So I was like, okay, I need to get my head shaved because it started to, you cut it into a bob, and I mean, you tell me now, but I remember you, like, it was just so thin, but you say that you used to brush it and it used to just fall out in there.
Yeah, I tried to hide most of it initially, but it just got to the point where I couldn't hide it anymore.
Yeah, so it was like, there's one picture I think I've got on my phone, and I basically might as well be bald. There's just strands of hair coming out of my head. And I was like, if I don't shave my head now, I'm going to look more ill than I am if I'm bald. So I was like, I just need to get it shaved off, and that's what I did. But I think when I got it shaved, you was all sitting behind me, and I'm in the chair, the one being, like, getting my head shaved. They're all sitting behind me, like, crying, and I'm just laughing because, like, I just found it funny. The fact that, because when he shaved my head, I had this, like, tan line going straight through my head, and it just like made me laugh. And I think at first I was like, oh, it's like, it is what it is. I'm not, like, I've got more things to worry about. But I think if you think about it more, then it's, oh, I've got no hair. And it's a big thing to not have, especially as like a teenage girl that wants long hair and whatever. To lose it all was like quite a lot, but I think overall I weren't as bothered as I would expect it to be because I had more things to worry about.
Yeah, and I think part of the process of making that decision was that you was actually in control of that choice. Definitely. Because everything that's been done to you throughout this journey, you haven't had a choice about, really.
No, it's the only thing that I could make my own decision over. So yeah, that definitely, I think I was pleased I did it, and I actually managed to help someone else that I met in hospital shave her hair as well, because she wasn't sure, and I remember meeting her and she had nice long brown hair. And she was like, can I ask you about your like shaving your hair? I was like, of course you can. And we had a chat, and the next time I saw her she had no hair, and I just like, she was like, oh, you helped me do that, and that meant a lot because it meant that I was helping someone that obviously was struggling to do it. So
yeah, and I was nervous about the barber because he was using this really sharp silver blade, and at the time you were on blood thinners.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, please don't cut her, she's going to bleed to death.
Yeah.
He didn't, did he?
No.
He didn't nick you at all.
No, he was very good.
Yeah, yeah. And then you continued to maintain that bald look for a while, even though your hair was coming back. You did continue, and I think it was probably the good decision to do that.
Definitely.
Until it was really, really ready to start growing.
Yeah.
When you was in maintenance.
Yeah. Which is the what would you say, the next big cycle, I guess.
The first 6 months was really intense.
Yeah.
And then after that we went into what they call maintenance, and things sort of slowed down a little bit.
Yeah.
Treatment became a little bit less chemo.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, you ready for question 3?
I think so.
So my last question for you is, did you really think I suited being bald, or did you just like say it to make me happy?
Oh no, you did. You did suit it. I mean, obviously I love the fact that your hair is growing now for you.
Yeah.
But you could just rock any look.
Yeah. Bear with, Mum's just having a minute. You alright?
Yeah. Hold on. Oh dear. Where was I? Yes, you would rock any look, I think, Leonie, if you wanted to have pink hair with blue stripes. I think you would just look fabulous.
You're crying about my bald head, Mum.
There's certain things that are just... Yeah. Should we move on?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Right, your last question for me.
Okay. Right. Hold on. Here we go. For people staying in hospital, what would be your top 5 packing essentials if they were sort of staying overnight or for a period of time?
That's a really good question, because I mean, we basically took our whole house with us, to be honest, didn't we? I remember the nurses laughing at us because we used to bring suitcases.
Well, we never knew how long we were going to stay in for. Sometimes it'd be sort of 10 to 12 nights at a time.
Yeah,
so
we just never knew. But I think, oh God, where do I start? I think even when I have lumbar punctures every 3 months, and when I go in for them, it's kind of like half a day in hospital. And I always take a blanket because, one, sometimes the hospitals are really cold. I mean, I get really hot, so I also take a fan.
Yeah.
But I like being like comfortable and cozy. So I think that, especially if it's more than a night, a blanket or a dressing gown or something you can like
cozy up in.
Yeah, just so you feel a little bit more comfortable and a bit more like you've got your comforts with you. I think that's probably one of my main things, to be honest.
Something that smells of home as well, in a nice way.
Yeah, not if your house smells.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
You don't want to take the dog's blanket. But,
no.
But yeah, just something that you can sort of, be really comfortable with.
Yeah. My second one, I'd probably say maybe an iPad or a laptop or something that you can watch Netflix on, because we used to sit next to each other and watch a film or series or something to get us through.
Well, I used to hang off the side of the bed, if that means anything, to sitting next to you.
Yeah.
One bum cheek was on.
But so I think that would really help, because watching Netflix on your phone, as you'd know if you do that on like the plane or whatever, is just not ideal really. So I think taking an iPad or a laptop, because the TVs in hospital either didn't work or they've lost all the controllers for them. So I think, and I remember Dad one day bringing up the Xbox, and we played on the Xbox for a bit.
It's just something to really help pass the time, because days in hospital are so long, and when the nurses say we'll be back in 5, that actually means 5 hours and not 5 minutes. So and it's not that they want it to be like that, it's just that they are so run busy off their feet. And
I mean, they're all amazing.
Yeah, they are. And when they say, the doctors will be round soon, the word soon could mean 3-4
Tomorrow.
hours or even tomorrow in some cases. Exactly. So something that you're happy with to pass the time would be really, really good.
I think the third thing would be something to put on your feet, and that might sound really silly, but the last thing you're going to want to put on is trainers, because when you're in hospital you're so tired because you've done nothing all day. And
so like slippers or sliders.
Like slippers or sliders,
just...
because if you're going to the bathroom or whatever, sometimes you have to share a bathroom. We was lucky enough most of the time to get our own. I think there was 1 or 2 times that we didn't. But even if you've got your own, you still don't want to be walking around with nothing on your feet. So I think that's definitely a good thing to take, because you don't want to be putting trainers on. Even you didn't really, did you? No. We used to take sliders and slippers and stuff.
So flip-flops or something.
The fourth thing I think I would say is a charger, because we used to have a hospital bag and I used to always leave a charger in there, because that's one thing I'd forget. So, and I think sitting in hospital, I used to always update my friends, you did as well, and family. So if my phone died, I probably would have had a mental breakdown, because I liked keeping in contact and updating people how I was getting on. I think that's really important.
Yeah.
And the fifth thing, was it 5 you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. The fifth thing I think I would say is not a drink, like a cup, your own mugs, because I remember you saying to me, like, you used to go into the kitchen and then, like, the first time we went in, obviously we didn't know what to expect or what to bring, and there was no cups.
Yeah.
Because the hospital was so busy, and obviously they ain't got time to wash up or nothing, and some people don't wash up, do they? So and if you take your own as well, you know where it's been and you know who's been drinking out of it. And especially me being neutropenic, I had to be careful as it is anyway.
Yeah, we ended up taking 2 mugs, a pot of hot chocolate and a couple of little spoons, because they were like our main essentials.
Spoons, yeah, you could not find either.
No, you could never find a spoon.
And we used to have like the windowsill used to be like our own little shop. We used to have loads of food on it.
Yeah, whoever came to visit us, if we were allowed visitors, used to fetch us up some goodies.
Food, yeah. So I think they're my 5 things.
Yeah, I would agree. Really, really good, essential top tips.
So for every guest that comes on, I'm going to be asking them the same question.
Okay.
So that question is, for everyone that's listening, what's your advice on staying positive in a negative situation?
Okay. So if you was to have asked me this a year and a half to 2 years ago at the beginning of this journey, I would have said to make sure that you're able to connect with family and friends and take support, you know, and actually say yes, please.
Yeah.
Which still stands, and I do think it's vital, because otherwise we're on our own, you know.
Yeah.
But now, and because I've found my new love for yoga and meditation, with the reading that I've been doing and all the learning that I've done recently, I would say that being present and being in the moment is really, really important. And there's been a few occasions where we have truly, truly enjoyed that day, because we don't know what tomorrow's going to bring.
No.
And sometimes that tomorrow was actually in hospital, unplanned.
Yeah.
But we'd had that fantastic day before.
Yeah, and I remember that. I remember what you're on about. And we was, what was we doing? We was having a barbecue or something.
We was in the garden having a barbecue.
And you said,
with friends.
You said, like, we love it. We love family time and like having our friends over, because we don't know what tomorrow brings. And the next day you was unwell. We might have to take you into hospital. And it was just like, whoa, like, that hit.
So I think being present and being mindful of the blessings that day brings is what's getting me through the you know, this stage of your journey.
Yeah.
Don't worry about tomorrow. We can't plan for tomorrow. We certainly can't plan for next week. And you know, one of our sort of taglines to family and friends is that, well, we can pencil it in,
Yeah.
but we might have to rub it out.
Yeah.
So, and actually after all of this,
yeah,
I think that will still be really important for us to live by.
Definitely.
Yeah. So that's what I'll say.
Thank you so much for joining me and being my first guest.
Thank you.
I think we were both very nervous, but I'm happy the first episode is out. Thank you to everyone that has listened. To get involved, DM me on Instagram at Leonie_M with your questions ready for the next episode. I would really appreciate it if you liked and subscribed so I can spread more awareness. Keep your ears opened and eyes wide for episode 2. That's a bye from me.
It's a bye from me.
Thanks for listening.